Okay,
let's do the intro.
The intro.
Who's doing it?
Fine, I'll do the intro.
Welcome to Band for Life.
Hello, welcome to Band for Life.
I'm Pete.
I'm Grainger.
Why do you sound unsure about that?
I think my script had a question mark on it.
Proper Ron Burgundy moment. I'm Grainger.
I'm Grainger.
So this week we have on a solo artist, Mr. Stephen White.
Yep, Stephen White from Staffordshire.
Yeah, a little bit different to our normal remit. However, excited.
Yeah, because we're not all about just getting. We have a lot of metal bands on. If you go back and watch our channels, viewers, watch our videos on the channel. We have a lot of metal bands on, which is fine. We love metal. I love metal. I'm in a metal band. But we're also, it's not just about that. So we're trying to
broadening our horizons.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Should we get him in?
Let's get him in.
Hello, this evening we've got in solo artist Stephen White from Staffordshire. How you doing, man?
Very well, thanks, mate. How you doing?
Good. Thanks so much for coming on the channel.
Oh, mate, pleasure.
But yeah, when did you get started, dude? Because like I said, I know you through Ryan, and that's why I've got your page on Facebook. And I went on the hunt for new artists, new bands to get on the channel. And I found you and messaged you. And then I was so surprised that I got Ryan on the other end, like, oh, hello.
To be fair, before working with Ryan, because we've been mates for years, but before starting with Ryan, I was actually signed to like a kind of management label.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but like to be fair to him, the entire time he was there saying to me, like, oh, Steve, you need to leave them. It's not right, like come work with me, because like he's always wanted to work with me to kind of like, help me drive, and like we work together, collaborate and stuff. He was right, to be fair. So now, yeah, we started working together about, I want to say just over a year ago. Like, I started from scratch, but the music's going much better now. Yeah, like a good work partner, to be fair, and like he's kind of helping manage and sort stuff out on that regard. So pretty cool.
Yeah. It's handy to have somebody like that, to be fair, because some bands are useless at this kind of some bands are just so useless at the kind of the management side of it. Like, and it's okay. It's okay because we get a lot of bands on who like love the music, they love what they do, they love what they play. But when it comes to like emails or phoning people or anything like that, there's always like a lack of coordination in the band. It's like, well, it's their job is job.
Because it's just you, isn't it? Looking at your Facebook, it's just you and maybe a couple of other musicians occasionally, isn't it?
Right now it's great, but when I was signed to the management, it was absolutely awful. Because obviously, like, I was paying them. And each time that I'd come to one with a new song, I'd be like, I'd rate the song. This is how it sounds in my head. This is how I want it to be. And then like my producer at the time was just like, oh yeah, that's cool. Let's make it like 80s electro pop. And I'm just like, not really what I'm going for. So I did that for like about 3.5 years, I want to say. And then it just came to a point where I literally turned to him. I was like, right, okay, we've done literally half an album of this electro pop stuff. Like, can we do something that I want to do now? And it was very much just like at that point they were like, oh, we've already done like half the album like this. It'd be weird if we just changed the theme. I'm like, are you kidding me? So I had to end that relationship. But at that time they would be sorting out all the replying and all the that just completely stay out of the social side in regards to that. So but yeah, now I'm on top of like my own socials, and so yeah, it's pretty easy going to the yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool because producers are there to kind of like help you with the music and stuff. But it sounds like they were very much kind of steering it maybe a bit too much from what you actually wanted.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, obviously I was quite naive when I first met him because I was just really excited to have somebody kind of like, recognize me and try and get me on board. I was quite excited because what was it? I was on I was on Stafford FM. I sang Writings on the Wall by Sam Smith on Stafford FM, and then
Nice.
I got a message from. I won't mention names, you know.
You can if you want.
But yeah, like basically, I just got a message off these guys, and you know, like they seem quite professional. They are quite professional, to be fair. But it was literally a case of I should have got the hint in the first interview that I had with them, like the first meeting, because they were saying to me, they were like, "Oh, you know, we really like your style and everything," but then they were saying stuff like, "We feel like you could be our Abbey Road," and I'm kind of like, shouldn't it be the other way around? Shouldn't you like be my Abbey Road then?
Yeah.
You know, kind of like to help me progress. So yeah, I do think that it was more of a kind of I was their vessel to push their music. I think.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if it was intentional, but obviously when you're in that position, you think to yourself, right, and I know the direction that I want to go in, but these are the professionals. These are the guys who have been in the industry for longer. Maybe I should see what they have to say. So yeah, I think I just let it snowball a little bit and lost complete control of that situation.
I mean, it sounds good that you managed to get out of it unscathed by the sound of it.
I mean, it was one of those situations where we had an agreement that due to the fact that they produced the music for the songs that like we'd been trying to produce, I wasn't entitled to use my own songs for a year after the contract ended. But then to be fair, by the time that the year was up, I looked back and I thought my songwriting is much better now than it was back then. And quite frankly, I didn't like the songs as they were anyway, so it's kind of left a bad taste in my mouth for the theme of the song as well. So I just started from scratch with the help of Ryan, you know, my friend Tommy as well. He's producing, brilliant, like just literally doing it in his bedroom with his own little set. Really good, like better quality than I was getting in an actual studio, if I'm honest. So
it's interesting you mentioned that, because we had a band on just either last week or the week before, full band, who used to have they were using a recording studio that had recorded some relatively big bands and stuff, and it was their kind of style. And then they basically stopped and moved away from that to do home recordings, and it gets mentioned quite a bit on the channel. You can pretty much now get studio quality from home nowadays, and it's completely changed the way that like bands can release their stuff. You know, they don't have to go to a studio, or even labels aren't as maybe needed nowadays. What do you reckon?
Yeah, like well, you look at Billie Eilish, like it was just her and her brother, wasn't it? Like they kind of just like, am I right in saying that? I'm pretty sure that it was just like her brother was helping to kind of like push her music. She didn't actually have like management or.
Yeah, it was a lot of like self-release, wasn't it? Rather than going through the traditional channels, which seems to be becoming a bigger thing now. You see a lot of like YouTubers that are releasing their own stuff, and they're doing well with it.
Well, yeah, as long as you get the views, you've got the exposure, haven't you? And then, like, obviously, the charts can't ignore that. So it's a good avenue. Yeah.
Okay, was it Wellerman? This is like quite a recent one, only a couple of months ago. The guy he did like a TikTok. The song's called Wellerman. It's an old sea shanty. Can't remember the name.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of the guy, but it was like a postman. I read the thing, and I listened to the song, and I was like, this isn't like a made. This is a sea shanty. This isn't like a made song that's been made up recently. But I think it was remixed by a couple of people and stuff, and then it hit. I don't know if it got to number 1, but I know it got to at least number 2 or 3.
Didn't it? Yeah.
I know.
Doing it.
And he did a TikTok of it. Like he managed to, and now he's signed up to he's like signed up to Polygon or something, and he got picked up straight away. And yeah, like things like, I mean, that's kind of going viral at the same time, but that is all it takes. And it's similar to what you're saying about Billie Eilish. I don't know I mean, Bad Guy's the one that everybody knows. I don't know if that's the one that was being kind of pushed by her brother and stuff, or whether there's songs before it. But yeah, I think a lot of bands we have on, a lot of artists we have on, then a lot of them don't go the traditional route anymore, and they are doing the self-releases, pushing it themselves, and even recording themselves. And I listened to this band we had on, I listened to their old recordings and the new ones, and I honestly couldn't tell the difference. I genuinely thought it was the same studio.
Well, that's like we haven't fully mastered any of the tracks yet. We've got 5 tracks recorded to a really nice extent, to the point where like I can show friends and family off to the side and stuff.
Yeah.
Like this is how it is. It just isn't polished yet, and it already sounds better than anything that I was producing with the previous management. And as you say, that was like a proper, you know, they had their full setup, and I was in like a big acoustic room, and you know, I had my choice of like 7 microphones in front of me, which one's better for me. And still, even then, like the stuff that I'm producing now is just so much crisper. Like it's literally just based on the producer's talents, really, isn't it? Like, what are they capable of bringing out of you?
Yeah, I think there's that many resources now for you to actually learn and do it, to how to do it yourself. You can do that sort of studio quality at home as long as you've got reasonable gear, you know. But even then, like, I mean, I've done stuff in here on my own, and all I've got is a little Focusrite interface and a few not even nice mics, just basic mics, and you can get some pretty sexy sounding recordings out of it.
Well, to be fair, because obviously I can't get to the studio right now, obviously COVID and everything else. I decided to try and record a cover. And normally, I've kind of stopped doing covers on my pages now due to the fact that like it's always just me in front of a camera, no microphone or anything, just free singing and like to a karaoke. And it's like, because that's all I can do. I don't have like the full setup at the minute, you know. So I just thought, you know, I got like just a standard microphone, managed to port it up to my laptop. One of the ports is busted on the laptop as well, so I had to find a lot of moves around that to get it done. But I did Maroon 5 Memories, going to be putting it up in a couple of days online. But the way that I did that was literally just I got GarageBand on the and I literally just used the because I couldn't actually get the microphone to work properly, so I ended up just having to like sing through the actual Mac microphone. Keep in mind, this is the
Hey, they're not bad though.
They're not bad, but it's a 2013 because like I got it back when I was in university. So, it's not fantastic. But to be fair, like all I've done is I've just added like the sound of rain in the background, so that like it kind of gives it that that almost lo-fi feel. So I kind of get away with that that awesome quality. But it's sounding good, it's sounding all right. Like a lot better than I thought it would. To be fair.
That's clever, to be fair. The rain, I like that. The rain in the background to give it that lo-fi quality. That's mint.
And then my housemate as well, like my best friend's an artist, and a graphics designer himself. So he's actually made me this thumbnail with so it's just me like sat there kind of like leaning, looking out the window, but like cartoonist style. And then the rain on the outside of the window is just perpetually like a GIF, like perpetually raining on the window. Yeah. Match the side, to match the rain and that I've put in the tracks.
Nice. That's awesome.
It should be all right. Just get a bit of traction out. Yeah.
Yeah, because we saw, we both had a look on your page, and we saw you've got the videos of you singing and stuff, on your page. So you've been keeping busy then during the lockdowns and stuff?
As busy as I can, to be honest. I mean, the lockdown has made me really lax when it comes to production. When it comes to songwriting, I'll be honest, I'm normally, there were times when I'd be walking to work, and from the journey from my house to work, I'll have a song written between that time. Just because, I'll be walking and, for example, there's a song that I started writing where it's it starts I'm walking to the sound of the road and the rhythm of my feet kind of thing. Because literally, I was just walking and you've got the tempo going. And then I just come up with a song in my head. And then by the time that I've got into work, I've kind of typed it into my phone and I'm ready to do what else. But since lockdown, I can't write. I've just got that delete block. Because whenever I try to write something, it's always something really kind of dour and depressing and sad.
Yeah, and I've struggled with it with people being like, "Oh, doesn't it make you really productive? You're at home all day. You're not. I'm like, would you just piss off with this? Let me be." Yeah, it's just depressing.
Let me be a potato.
Yeah,
if I want to be a potato through lockdown, I will stay a potato.
Just let me watch Netflix and go away with your productivity.
If I want to get out of bed at 4 p.m.
that's genuinely I've what was it? So I'll be in bed either at 2 a.m. in the morning, or I'll be in bed at 8 a.m. in the morning. It's literally my body clock is so screwed. It just depending on what time I wake up in the morning, it's going to affect what time I'm going to bed at night. It's just really.
I totally feel on that one. I've been furloughed from my day job, and my sleeping pattern's been been nuts. It has been nuts. And I guess when you were talking about songwriting before, I used to be, so I'm currently in a band, but I play bass, but I used to be a songwriter in my old band. And often you would like use real world things that you maybe see out and about. So when you were saying about like not being able to go to work, or not being able to go out and see people, you don't get any of the experiences you would have speaking to people, maybe telling you stories and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. There's no inspiration when you're looking at the same four walls, especially when like say you just jump on Twitter or something and like it's just a negative news feed. You're like, that's cool.
Yes.
COVID.
So, but yeah, I mean, there's songs that I've been trying to polish up as well. But like, for example, I tried going back to a song that's like, it's pretty much like 3/4 written, but it's a really joyful kind of like, like really kind of high tempo, optimistic jam. And I just couldn't continue. I was like, I'm going to ruin this song.
Yeah. When it all kicked off, I was like, I'm going to record, like, I'm going to do a cover a week. I'm going to release it on Spotify. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to try and write songs again. And I've managed to record one cover since March last year.
Yeah, I keep just saying to myself, like, like I'm 28 now. It's not going to hurt one more year. It's just going to, yeah.
That's it, like that's it. Like, well, it's not going to hurt. Like, definitely keep going. So how long have you actually been, performing for as Stephen White and doing, gigs and stuff or performing out and about?
Actual gigs, I'd say since I was about 18, actual gigs. But I mean, I've been singing. So I've been singing, like, love to sing since I was about 7 years old, I'd say.
Yeah.
But then it wasn't until like my parents never heard me, and it was one of those revelation moments kind of thing. I remember I thought I was the only one in the house, just finished school, come back home, and like my dad's upstairs and I'm singing my head off. I think I was singing Blue, something like that, or Westlife, something like that. And like it's just one of those like moments where like you open the door and your dad's there in tears, like, oh, I'm gonna do that. And then yeah, and then next thing you know, like I'm kind of like singing in choirs and stuff like that, and going down to like the local church and stuff like that. Just for kind of a like what are they like youth centre talent shows?
Yeah.
Like that, and then from there, I did Pop Stars. If you've ever heard of Pop Stars, I'd be quite surprised. That was something that was done in the West Midlands high schools.
Right.
Yeah, we are going back. I mean, don't even want to guess how many years, to be honest. But I was in like year 8, year 9, or something like that.
Oh, so you're talking like 15-ish, just under maybe 15
years. It was when I left school. I can't figure it out. But yeah, I did a competition called Pop Stars, where that was quite tragic. I managed to get through to the semi-finals. So it was like I went to like somewhere in the Forest Arts Centre in Warsaw.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, I mean, like, I think I've only ever visited it like on this one occasion, but yeah, I went up and I sang "Breathless" by Shane Ward, which was a really bad idea. Really bad idea. How much longevity did that song have? Later, it was never heard of again. So like, I come up and I sing that, and there's obviously that massively high note as well. And at that time, I was very much scared of my own voice. Kind of, I was scared of the notes and stuff, so I couldn't really tackle the difficulty, So didn't really do myself justice too much, especially considering the lad that got up after that sang from a musical. Can't remember the musical, but it's like that. Someday, somehow, we'll find a living.
I know that.
Forgiving, but he just comes out and absolutely smashes this song. Like, absolutely blasts it, like accurate to the musical. That was the end of Pop Stars for me. I didn't get any further with that.
The experience, though.
Yeah, great experience. I mean, like, it was the first time that I think I performed in front of about 150 people that night. So that was like my first proper taste. Then it was like I was doing talent shows at high school. I remember my first performance was Numb by Linkin Park, but it was like a piano rendition.
Great.
So I could take it softer. I didn't have to and then after that, it was a Soundwave music competition.
That rings a bell.
That one rings more of a bell.
So Soundwave took place at the O2 Arena.
Oh yeah.
As well. Yeah. So in that one, I actually got through to the final.
Oh man.
Yeah. So like I was singing in front of about 2,100 people that night.
That's mega.
I didn't win. I came second, but like it was one of those like I actually had people like chanting my name after the winner was, and I was like, oh, that feels. I don't even care if I didn't win. That's
cool as fuck. That.
But I realised before going in that it's one of those situations where the more people that you bring with you, the more kind of upvotes you get towards winning as well. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's like the more tickets that you can sell to your friends and family, the more of a chance. So it was one of those kind of situations. And this the band that won brought literally 2 double-decker buses worth of people down from down from Wales, well, across from Wales, like. But no, still, again, incredible experience, and like that's one of the ones that really kind of drove me into it. And after that point, I was just performing at local bars. Worked with Ryan actually on a company that we set up when it was more Ryan. Hence the name of it, but RH Promotions. You must have been told about that, like if you spoke to him at Alton Towers.
RH Pro. So on Towers, I was in the maze as one of the actors, and he was one of the hosts. So I occasionally spoke to him if he was in a cubby hole near me or in a rat run near me. But I only found out about Ryders Creed. I left Alton Towers early because I ended up getting sick, so I only did a couple of weeks, and I only spoke to him a couple of times, but I managed to get him on Facebook, and I saw his band, and I was like, oh, your band's awesome, dude. But yeah, no, he hadn't mentioned it.
Yeah, well, like, because he's got an incredible business mindset, Ryan does. I'll give him that. Like, even like, because obviously, lead singer of Ryders Creed, he's actually like his online presence is phenomenal. I don't like. There's been so many times in the past. Like, this is why I'm asking him to help manage me. Because like the times when I'm just there and I'm thinking, I want to put up a status. What am I going to put? And I call Ryan and Ryan will just have something. And I'm quite articulate. I have a good way with words, and like a lot of the time I'll just be off the cuff, just straight on it. But then those moments where you kind of overthink it.
Yeah. That's me most times.
Yeah, like you read back what you've written and you're like, oh no, get rid of that kind of thing. And it's like, it would be fine if you said it anyway, but you're just like, no, I got to tweak it. And so, Ryan's very much that person. So we went into business, and it was rather than us performing, we'd be putting on events for other people. So,
nice.
So we'd rent out like a Oddfellows Hall in Stafford. Like all of them were in Stafford. But then we put on a bar festival at the Hungry Horse. Managed to get like loads of people out for the live music and stuff. Me and Ryan took advantage of that because we performed there as well, just to kind of help ourselves in the meantime. But it was a lot of fun, to be fair. But obviously, like I went off with the management company around about that time. Like obviously finished with university, and then that opportunity came along, and I kind of went off in that direction. So at that point, me and Ryan kind of, he went off and did his band work. I went off and did my solo work, and didn't really kind of circle back around again until after I'd left the management. But
it sounds so you've basically done kind of events and promotion then. You ran your own events and stuff. That's pretty cool. Like, so you've had a lot of experience in different a lot of experience in different kind of things from a young age running through. Running your own
stressful times, 100%.
Yeah, I was going to say running events is probably
that's not.
So like, if it's your own gig and your PA doesn't work, then that's one thing. You can kind of almost try and work around it. But like if you've got like about 8 or 9 bands on in that day, and all of a sudden your stuff isn't working, it's a real big issue.
Yeah, if you've got like an all day or stuff like that, and you know what, and that kind of stuff happens. It's crazy because like everything will work the night before, but it's like the electricity knows or something.
I have been known to every time that you test, you're plugging in the right wires. I have been known to just kind of the day off, just cross them over and.
When the pressure's on.
Yeah, big time. I used to buckle a lot under that pressure, to be fair. There were a few times when me and Ryan got into arguments, like perfectly fine 5 minutes later, but we're just there screaming at each other like, what do you want to do? What to do?
Oh, man. I can imagine that. So in that case then, since we're kind of on the topic, what kind of, have you had any gigs or performances similar to what you were just saying where things didn't go to plan? And you can think of where things, whether It could be something happened on stage. It could be maybe one of your promotion nights, something that happened at one of your gigs, or something that happened off stage. Sometimes it's other things like exterior factors that make gigs.
I've had a few rough gigs, to be honest. I mean, so the most uncomfortable ones, I'd say, were the ones when so I was with the management company and they got me a booking agent. So I went to one of those showcase nights where you just go and sing for like all these pub owners and stuff, and then they'll be like, oh, keep on board. So I got together with this one agent, and it was kind of like a working men's clubs gig.
Yeah.
So so you've got like all of the older gentlemen, and you go in and they're all playing chess or they're all playing bingo. It's all about. And the thing is, I've performed at like retirement homes and everything. Like I've done Christmas shows at retirement homes, and they are amazing because like they really get into it. It's a fantastic feeling. But like with these, like, so you'd go into a huge hall, kind of like reminiscent of like a school hall. Yeah. So you get up on stage and like you just start in front of everybody and it's silent kind of thing. Everyone's just there reading the newspaper or just kind of like, just doing whatever and stuff. And no one's looking, hardly anyone's talking.
Everybody's gone.
You could just hear people breathing. And I'm up on stage, like getting myself sorted and stuff. And then, so first of all, I have to wait because they've got a game of bingo booked, right?
Nice.
So they're playing bingo, and let me tell you, they lost their minds at bingo. Like they were having a right good time. Like it actually got me quite excited because I was like, oh, these seem like quite a jolly. This is going to be great. And keep in mind, like because I knew that I was going to be performing for the older generation, and obviously up to this point, I'm not performing originals, I'm performing covers. So like I've got like about 90 minutes worth of just cover material. And it's all stuff like, like the Monkees and Johnny B. Good and stuff like that. Just like, things from like pretty much like 60s, 70s, 80s situation.
Yeah.
Like you start performing, bingo ends, you start performing. And I do it in like 2 45-minute sets. So you do your first 45 minutes and like, it's one of those, you finish performing, you finish your note and stuff, music ends and stuff, and you look about, and then it's kind of like just a... I'm like, that's every song, and I'm like, this is actually destroying me. But then between my break, bingo comes back up, and all of a sudden there's life in the room again. So I'm just there all night competing with bingo. But then at the end of the night, I have like the owner of the establishment come up to me and he's like, oh, that was brilliant. Yeah, we really enjoyed it. We're going to have you back. And I'm like, you didn't show it, did you?
Like, are you alive out there?
Just like looking into the crowd. Any signs of life?
I had someone get to a punch up in front of me before. It was a pub gig. There was no raised up platform or anything. It was literally, for some reason, they put me in a corner, which was a very high trafficked corner anyway. So all night I'm singing there. And like, keep in mind, I've got my speakers like on the, like, pretty much as high as they can, but like obviously separated, kind of like pointing away from one another because they're so close together that the feedback that I was getting was ridiculous. So I'm there, and like in the entire night, I've got people walking past and just kind of like knocking into my speakers, and I'm just there constantly having to sing, catch the speaker, put it back. Just kind of like, like literally a fight breaks out, and I'm literally just there kind of holding both of my speakers, just like like could have got bottled or anything. I was like, but like before I went in, like I had people saying, oh, this is a lovely place, and then you go into other places where it's like, oh, that's a bit of a rough pub, but then you actually have people really getting into it in the rough pubs, having a really good time and not causing any trouble. So
I've found that, because I play in an Oasis tribute, and I've found that the rougher the pub, generally the better night you're going to have. Do you get that? I'm just going to go off on a bit of a tangent. What really pisses me off all the time is and it's usually women, and they come up to you and they go, can I sing one with you? And you're like, no, go away. And they get dead offended. Then they're like, I'm a really great singer. I'm like, I don't give a shit.
Come on,
don't
love.
care.
Come on, love. Just like
lenient with it. I'm quite lenient. If someone wants to come up and sing, I kind of just think to myself, like, if they get up to try and sing after about like maybe like 5 or 6 songs, then it's like, no, let me do my thing kind of thing. But like if we're in the second half and I've only got 25 minutes left of the set or something like that, and you know, I can tell that everybody's already having a great time, you know, everyone's enjoying the performances and stuff. As long as it's the right crowd, I'll let someone up and I'll let them sing. The awkward part is when you let them sing the first time and everyone's there, everyone's proper cracking up and like, you know, pissing themselves at it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, this person's atrocious and one song is enough kind of thing. And then they're like, oh, I can do another. And that's when it gets awkward because you can't just say, no, love, you just brought the house down. You need to turn around. be like, oh, no, I really need to wrap things up. Like, you know, thank you so much though. Like really brave.
Yeah.
This happens a lot. I do karaoke. And I do, well, I've not done it in ages, but I do a bit of karaoke DJing as well. And you'll get like somebody singing, and then like somebody will come along and be like, oh, I'm going to sing this one with him. And sometimes like they literally, you're like, oh yeah, he's my mate from whatever. I'm like, right, okay, this happened once. And then I gave her the mic and she started singing, and the guy turned around and it was like, who are you? Like proper, like, what's going on?
She's singing so though.
Yeah, and I'm like, and I said to the guy at the end, I was like, look, I'll let you sing it again in like a couple of songs time by yourself. She said she was your mate, and she said you were all right with it, and he was like, no, I was not all right with it. So yeah, I totally get that when people want to sing along and stuff, and
it happens all the time.
And they want to stay on. They want to stay on, don't they? Like you said, it happens so much.
I had a drunk gentleman. Have you guys been to Stafford?
I've been to Stafford, yeah.
Not for a long time. Not for a night out either.
Not for a night out.
Do you remember the Star and Garter pub?
Everywhere's got Star and Garter.
There's one in Manchester.
I've seen a few Star and Garters now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was when I first started performing live. To be fair, it may have actually been post RH Promotions. Maybe it was when I started just like focusing on myself and pushing myself forward. But it was the first time that I was independently performing in Star and Garter. I had like the Star and Garter crowd are absolutely amazing. Like I'm a bit of a local celebrity in there now, but like because I performed like every Saturday for 6 months, like at the Star and Garter. But then that was just like it got to the point where I had to turn around to the owner and like just say like, look, I love this, but at the end of the day, there's only so many times that I can keep changing up my set list because this is difficult to learn. Just like another 90 minutes of fresh songs that the people didn't hear last week, you know, especially when it's the same crowds as well.
Yeah.
But I remember because it was my parents' local as well. So they obviously have friends there and everything, and like people that I've been introduced to in the past. So people who recognised me and were like a bit chummy with me. But there was a drunk gentleman who got up, asked if he could sing. It'd been going absolutely amazing. So I was like, yeah, that's perfectly fine. I even brought up the track that he wanted on YouTube to like sing along to. But then he's probably just like drawling and like, you know, kind of like all the rest of it. And I can tell that everybody's getting a bit antsy. I've even got some people coming up to me saying, come on, Steve, get back on the mic kind of thing, you know. So I'm like, okay, yeah, like no worries. So I let him finish his song. And then I go to try and kind of like, you know, say, right, kind of take over kind of thing. And he just proper kind of like, you know, pulls the mic down and stuff and gets in my face. And like, you know, I'm not the biggest lad. I've done martial arts, you know, like, so because I used to get bullied in high school. So I know that like I can kind of handle myself to an extent, but drunk guys don't feel punches too much. So the guys, to be honest, because like, if I don't put him down with the first one, then I'm screwed, aren't I? Like, so I'm just going to be like, okay, mate, I guess I'm just going to concede my gig then because I ain't getting the mic off yet. And then one of the customers just out of nowhere flies past me as this guy by the throat, like up the wall. I'm just
oh my
goes off. But then like this guy's a regular patron of the pub. So everybody else in the pub's just like, yeah, bloody get him. The bouncers are like, yeah, mate, sling him out kind of thing. It's like, no, really good vibe though, really good atmosphere, like great crowd.
I can't believe that.
My most extreme mic intervention, and it happened so early as well in my career.
I can't believe that. That's crazy. Like, I can just imagine this dude just like, no, mine. Just like off his
it's like he didn't even like. Obviously, you can look at people and not like, you know, judge a book by the cover. Like, you know, they could be absolute softies. You know, like you have people who look a bit rough. But this lad, he looked like a teddy bear. But the moment that his face went from that to that, it was like it just changed, and I was like, "Oh my god, this guy!"
It's fine. I didn't want the gig anyway.
It's fine. It's fine.
I was like, this guy has murdered someone. You can just see it.
And the thing is that this guy is murdered. Yeah, you just know. Just on day release. The crowd normally, the good thing about that though is when you are good at what you do, and then somebody goes on and yeah, it's hilarious if somebody goes on and they're a bit shit and stuff. But then if you keep carrying on, what happens is, or what I tend to see, is the crowd generally they're on your side.
Yeah.
They're kind of like they can't, they want to hear, because fair enough. Oh, it was a laugh. We had somebody else on. Great. They might have been good. They might not have been good. But ultimately, you are the entertainment. So they'll always kind of tend to be on your side in those situations.
And it is lovely as well. Like just to kind of have that, like not kind of like support necessarily, but like it makes you more comfortable as a musician and an artist to be able to know that the people have got your back if it does go a little bit south. Because I mean, like I've not experienced it myself, but I think the worst thing would be if one person throws a bottle and everybody else joins in or something.
Yeah, that's my biggest fear. That is if the crowd turn on you and you're like, "Oh shit."
Well, we got scotch egged when we were 14, Pete, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
15.
What was that?
We were 14 though.
We just did a gig. It was like our first gig, second gig.
It was our first ever gig.
It was our first ever gig that wasn't in school, and we played with a band who were a bit older than us. I knew one of the lads. I don't know how I knew one of the lads, but I did. They were kind of punk rocky. We were kind of rock punky. we were definitely very new to it, and we were rehearsed, but it wasn't clean. And all of their fans, I don't think any of them liked us, and they threw scotch eggs. They were eating scotch eggs at a table, some of them.
Where did they even get the scotch eggs from, though?
They must go from Tesco. They must have brought food in with them, and they were we like scotch eggs littering the stage, And we're like, great.
That was our first experience of a non-school gig.
Oh, God.
And like knobheads, we carried on.
Is this what it's like every time? So what about then? You spoke about some of your really good gigs earlier, some of your earlier gigs, and the ones with like 2,500 people or something. What about some of your favourite gigs? Or some of your best gigs?
See, I've learned that I definitely prefer more intimate gigs than I do like like big kind of bombastic gigs. Like so when I was performing at obviously the Soundwave competition, the O2, it was the O2 Arena in Leeds, I think it was. I performed that, but that was an incredible experience, and it was a mad rush. But at the same time, I couldn't see the crowd.
Yeah.
It's obviously like the lights are shining on you.
Yeah,
you can't really see anything that's going on outside. And like, don't get me wrong, at the time, I was still a bit nervous as a stage performer, so it actually helped me to just kind of block them out and just perform. But there's really something about those intimate gigs. Like there's a micro pub in Stafford Town called I've not been there in a while now, so I've completely forgotten the name of it. But Slaters is what it's called, and it's so small, like literally probably the length of your traditional drive, just like as in like drive out in front of your house, anything really not long at all. And when you set yourself up, you literally position yourself in front of one of the front windows, just to the side of the door. So everyone that comes in and out, you're waving at them, you're kind of greeting them, and like saying bye to them as they go past and stuff. But there's also, like, say I'm performing here, but then there's literally a table directly in front of me that I can like leave my drink on or whatever like that. But then there's literally people sat at the table, just chatting between like song switches and all the rest of it. And I just, there's something really nice about that, because it's like you take a break, you go for a drink, but you walk past literally everybody that you just sang to on the way, and you're chatting to everybody, and like giving you praise or otherwise, depending on how good the gig's going, I suppose. But like, no, I really enjoy that kind of like being able to actually sing to. There was an occasion as well where the table in front of me, because I performed there a few times, like really, I just love the place. Like, there were a couple people in front, and I could see that they were really getting into the song that I was singing. So during the chorus, I was just leaning over, kind of pointing the microphone and then having a little swig of my drink and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Made my life easier. Also, it just made it a lot more fun, you know, getting them involved in the rest of it. Like, just the performance just seems so much more. What's the right word? You're just kind of a lot more comfortable. Like,
yeah. I like the little ones.
I always prefer to play to a smaller room that's fuller than a massive room that's got the same amount of people in.
Yeah, well, there's nothing more uncomfortable than that. And I have performed in front of like 6 people before, but it's like you've already been paid to do the gig. You got to do the gig.
Yeah, it's character building. I've always said it's like a rite of passage for any.
Yeah, if you can't handle that, then you know, because there are going to be those times, aren't there? There's going to be times when not everybody's going to like your music.
Mm-hmm.
That's something we just need to come to terms with, isn't it? Really, straight away.
Yeah, and those kind of gigs with 6 people, it's like at least you still get to do what you love. Like we've done gigs literally to the other bands or just to the owners of the place and stuff like that. And we almost treat it sometimes like, we used to when we were in a band together.
It's kind of like a live rehearsal.
Kind of like a practice, yeah, kind of like a live rehearsal.
Yeah.
Any stage is still a stage, you know, even if it's not even a stage, it's just a flat piece or whatever.
That's what my parents always used to tell me, because like even today, my parents are both my biggest fans and my biggest critics.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm really thankful that they're not the kind of parents where I'd sing something and be like, ah! And like they're just like, that's beautiful, Steve. No, it's not like yeah. I'll sing to them, and they'll either turn around and they'll be crying, or they'll turn around and my mum will just be like, Steve, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
So they'd always just tell me whenever there was those gigs where I was just singing in front of like 5-6 people. And there's a specific bar. I won't say what bar it is because like they have gotten better, to be fair now. So I won't dampen that reputation. But at the time, they really weren't getting very good footfall. And like when I got the gig, I knew that it was going to be a little bit kind of but it was, they'd literally just say to me like oh, just see it as practice, you know, just like it's less to worry about as well. Don't get as stressed out. It can be more personal as well. Like, you know, you can kind of interact with the people there because they're the only people there.
It's totally true. Yeah, it's totally true. And, you know, right now, when everything's closed, I have a feeling that when it does all reopen up again, it's like for artists and bands, it should be mega. Like people should
it's going to be insane.
Really wanting to go and see live music.
Oh, mate, like I've been saving up money over the past couple of weeks because I'm determined to go to like if I can't perform at Glastonbury yet, then I'm going to Glastonbury just to see it, you know.
Yeah. I don't know about your calendar, but since Boris announced things were starting to open up, like within an hour after Boris had announced stuff, we were getting gig requests in. Like we've got 10, 15 gigs now, but
I like that.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully things will go.
Hopefully they're going to come off because there's some mint ones this year that we were supposed to do last year.
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, I was hoping to have my album finished by, to be fair, like by now, around about now, I'd say. But we're halfway there, so there's progress made. You know, I'm just happy that that's done, and the fact that I can actually listen back to those tracks now as well, and just know that they're better than things that I've produced before. I can see it's going. Yeah. I can see that it's going well, so I can wait for it. You know.
Yeah, and you've had a step in every single part of the creative process because you've done it pretty much at home. You know.
Exactly. And if I say to Tommy like, oh mate, I don't like that too much, he won't turn around to me and be like, trust me. He'll actually turn around and be like, yeah man, that's fine. Instead, you know. So
trust me.
Yeah, that's what you want.
This needs a reggae drop, right? Like. Do you want to do some plugs, Steve, before we finish up? It's been awesome, by the way. It's been really great getting you on some awesome stories as well.
Yeah, that's a great time. There's not much content on there at the minute because obviously it's a new page due to the fact that like I left the previous management. But there's a few covers on there at the minute, just in the middle of doing the album. So that's Stephen White Official. Stephen with a PH, White is in the contrast, official spelled as is. The number of times I have to say to people, I'm just so used to saying like Stephen with a PH, White is in the contrast. There you go.
We'll stick any links in the description as well.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming on, dude. And we no doubt will see you again very soon. And I'll speak to you very shortly anyway.
All right. Take care, lads.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much. See you later.
Later, man.
but it's crushing me so much, and I'm not falling. Feels like a crush, it's crushing me so much. I'm not falling for nothing. You don't seem to realize that I'm onto you. You shouldn't be surprised. I can see differently. It's clear to me now when I'm looking in your eyes. You should evacuate my space. I think it's time for me to chase the taste that you leave on my tongue. This is the deal. Now I'm going. Feels like a crush, but it's crushing me so much, and I'm not falling. Feels like a crush, it's crushing me so much. I'm not falling for nothing. Dance like a crush. Now I'm afraid that I can't stay. I see no reason when you're pushing me away. You play a game, it's all the same. You try to let me in just to burn me like I'm off to a flame. Too many times have I been played. I learned my lessons from the memories erased. I know that we can never be any more than embers from a dying flame that nobody can see. Feels like a crush, but it's crushing me so much, and I'm not falling. Feels like a crush, it's crushing me so much. I'm not falling. Feels like a crush, and I'm not falling. Feels like a crush, but it's crushing me so much, and I'm not falling.
So that was Stephen White. A
Yeah.
fellow artist from Staffordshire.
What a nice guy.
Some cool stories as well there, actually.
Yeah, really cool stories. From a different perspective of just having a band on, it's like when you're a solo artist, you're by yourself. So I love that when he was talking about like holding his speakers and stuff, because it's just him. You know, there's no
Yeah.
like backup.
Also, the guy must have massive cojones, because to get up in front of a pub on your own
Yeah,
and do like a 90-minute set,
for an hour and a
that's,
half.
I'm not sure I could do that.
It's I can imagine it being by yourself. Yeah, being
Interesting.
yeah, especially when
Especially when people take the mic off you and won't give it back.
or loving the bingo.
Oh, loving the bingo.
Half time, so I can just imagine half time, you know, this like Doreen comes out and we're just like, right, we're about to start the next round of bingo. Hey! Bless him.
I can see it now.
Well, the owners loved him, and I bet you the crowd did love him, you know. They just, obviously,
They just don't know how to show it.
just wanted to win the money, didn't they? Wasn't it?
That's all it is.
Bingo.
That's all it is.
Anyway,
I think that's all we've got time for this week.
that is all we got time for this week. We will be back on Tuesday for a Band For Abit video, and next Friday for our next interview that releases at 3 p.m. every week. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing.
We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Goodbye.